Hurts takes the snap. He's back. He's going to run. He's in! Touchdown! Jalen Hurts! The Eagles are just devouring the Giants. And it is A.J. Brown again! Another touchdown!
Welcome back to the Linc Lineup. This is episode 4. We're recording Sunday, August 13th. After the Eagles had a football game last night, first one, all year, and it was a barn burner, if I say so myself. We played the Ravens in the first preseason game. If you didn't know, the Ravens haven't lost a preseason game since 2015, and that was the story in the fourth quarter, because after the third quarter, it kind of got slow and needed something, pick up the spirits. And it was close, but ultimately the Eagles lost 19-20. Eagles had a chance to tie it after an Eli Ricks pick 6, but ultimately tried to go for 2 because nobody wants to see overtime in the preseason. So good on you, Nick Sirianni. We got our first taste of football. Alongside me, the usual group, we got Bryce and we got Josh. You can follow them on Twitter at I am Bryce Haynes and Josh at the Pre2. Welcome back, boys. It's always nice to record with you guys. It's my favorite part of the week. Glad to have you. So today we're gonna talk about the game last night. We're gonna talk about who stood out, who didn't, and anything we can think of, because football's back, and it's like what we're excited for. It's what we want to talk about. So, if you guys wanted to, we'll talk offense first. Offense had a rough start, I would say, with Marcus Mariota as the quarterback. You heard all training camp that he wasn't great with his arm, but he was a playmaker with his legs, and that's what we saw last night. I'm sure if you've been on Twitter, X, you'll see a lot of the passes that look pretty easy, just sail over receivers' heads from Marcus, and it just wasn't pretty. So Bryce, give me your opinion on Marcus Mariota right now. I know he's going to be him in the Tanner McKee matchup. Now that there is one, it's going to be a hot topic among Eagles fans. So give me your take on Marcus Mariota.
Right now, it's kind of, I don't know, like, you're not seeing great things, but you're not seeing stuff that's terrible, I guess. Like, it's kind of hard to judge when he's playing, because, like, really, you're only going to truly see him in a regular season game is if Jalen comes up with an injury, needs a couple weeks off or something, or it's just crap time at the end of a game and we're up big. So right now, I'm not so well. For one, I'm not sold, but at the same time, I'm not going to write him off just because I know what he's having to deal with at the moment. Because that backup offensive line did not look great at all as a unit last night. There was a couple good spots in it. I thought Sua Opeta played pretty well. Uh, did he did all right, and then Tyler Steen, I think he played well. He's moving from left tackle to right guard, getting reps at both. But with Mariota, he looks really good with his legs. I didn't really know he still had that kind of athleticism in him still. But like you said, that arm, it doesn't look too great. It's just the accuracy kind of thing. I think he's still got all the arm strength that he's had in previous years, but it's just he's got an accuracy problem going on right now. I thought the first one I think of is that he had a pass to Grant Calcaterra and just sailed it into no man's land, and where he's got to hit him in that spot. So I don't know. Well, I need to see a little bit more in game.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will, because we got 2 more preseason games to go, and I think they want to take some more time to look at Marcus Mariota and see what we have with him, because ultimately, Tanner McKee, who we'll talk about in a second, had a much better night and looked much more comfortable in this offense, even though it is a vanilla offense and we're not doing anything special. But Marcus Mariota was 7 for 11 for 58 yards. That's truly just uninspiring football. And like to me, he didn't pass the eye test. And Josh, I'm assuming for you, it's the same way. Give me your opinion on Marcus Mariota from last night's game.
Yeah, I mean, like Bryce said, he was good with his legs, the arm, and accuracy. Left something to be desired. I mean, frankly, after last night, I would be okay, yep, with Tanner McKee being the backup and Marcus Mariota being the third string. Obviously there's couple more preseason games to go, and Mariota does have, more of that, does have like actual NFL experience as opposed to McKee. But yeah, I mean, he's just leaving a lot to be desired, even from a backup quarterback perspective. You want somebody who's going to be able to put the ball where the receivers like have a chance to get it, and he sails passes too often.
Yeah, and this is the funniest full circle moment is because obviously you guys remember during the Chip Kelly years we were going to sell the farm for Marcus Mariota, and this isn't like Marcus had his best, but it's just funny because of what could have been, and now he's on the team, and now from what we've seen from Eagles fans is like we don't even want him on the team at this point. But like we said, he did good on his legs. Using his legs, he was 4 for 29 in that department. But ultimately, in the NFL level, you don't want a rush first type quarterback because too many athletic freaks are playing on the defensive side, and they will stop you. So
At the same time, I think honestly, what might help with Marcus more, I think these joint practices coming up are going to mean a lot more to the team and to him than say these preseason games are. I don't know. I feel like the NFL is just trending more that way where preseason games aren't as big a deal as kind of they used to be. And a lot of teams are focusing more on getting backup players, backup quarterbacks in with like the first team line or the you're not gonna well at the same time you're not gonna see Jalen with like the second string line or nothing like that. But it'd be I don't know. I think these joint practices are gonna tell a lot more about the team than these preseason games will.
yeah, ultimately, I can see a season like in the near future where preseason they might have one preseason game because we're doing so many more joint practices nowadays. You get your real like preseason in with those practices because like we're going up against the Browns this week, and we're going to see a lot of Jalen Hurts against the starters, and we won't see that on TV on your preseason game. It's just it's there in practice. It's in a practice setting. It's the injury risk is a lot less in those type of settings as well. So you ultimately the goal is to find out who you have on your team that can make an impact or who has potential to make an impact, and B, you want to go into the season and make sure you have as many healthy people as you possibly can. So that's what we want, and that's what the Eagles are ultimately doing. That's why they're going light practices and no starter playing in the preseason. Now we're going to turn the page. We're going to talk about Tanner McKee. As soon as he got inserted into the game, it seemed like, even though, like I said, we're running a vanilla style offense, he just seemed so much more like a quarterback, and he was like comfortable and he was making plays. His first play was like a 20 something yard pass. I can't remember who it was to, right down the middle. I think it was it Johnny King?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was 33 yards because that was Johnny King's only catch. Side note, change his number right now. I don't care what number is available. 43 on a wide receiver is disgusting and is criminal. So please change that.
He's a tall son of a bitch, though. I'll give him that.
He's
Golly.
he's 6'5", I believe. If I remember.
The dude's huge.
Yeah, he's 6'5", and that's an exciting prospect to have on like a practice squad, especially if he doesn't make the team. But so far he's looked good. We'll cross that bridge in a second, though. Right now is the MVP of the night, Tanner McKee, who 10 for 20, 148, 50% pass completion is okay, but it's preseason. At the end of the day, you don't have your playmakers out there that you typically have in a normal game. But like I say, he looked comfortable. He even ran a little bit. He got one rush for 7 yards, and that's not his strength. But coming out of college, his strength was accuracy, and he put it on full display. And I think that's what the Eagles wanted to see. So, good on them for picking him up in the 5th round, 6th round. So I think he made a case for definitely locking up the third quarterback spot. And then if Marcus continues to play the way he's playing, like he did last night, there is a case for Tanner McKee to be the backup quarterback. And I can see that later on. Bryce, Tanner McKee, talk to me.
It looked good, man. Not a whole lot you can really say about him. He missed some throws here and there, but at the same time, like you said, you ain't got your playmakers out there. Uh, some of the guys, I mean, some of your first team guys make catches that those guys last night can't make. I don't know, man. He looked good. That's all you can really say about him right now. I don't know if I'm so quick to jump him up to number 2 yet, just because he's sole fact he's a rookie. It's his first game. I think he's, like I said, these joint practices going against live in practice. You're gonna see a lot more. I think you can digress or see what you got a little bit easier with that than a preseason game. But I don't know. I'm interested to see on where his development goes and what becomes of Tanner McKee.
Definitely. And I may be overreacting because looking back at my notes from last night, at 7:52, I posted Tanner McKee delivers a dot first play. Then immediately after that, I said he clearly is a better passer than Marcus. Then by 8:09, I put Tanner McKee, the future Hall of Famer. So I may be overreacting, and but he was exciting to watch. And Josh, I'm sure you agree with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really can't ask for much more I forget what round he was drafted, 5th or 6th round, but
one of those two. It's one of those two.
One of those two. And yeah, I mean, you really can't ask for much more. He definitely, he didn't disappoint. Showed better accuracy than Marcus, which is, I mean, you like to see that. But yeah, I mean, definitely promising, and yeah, trajectory is definitely on the way up for him.
Yeah, and 6th round, by the way. He might not be the backup quarterback this year, but in all seriousness, I can see it being a thing next year. And then, he's the backup quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years, and hopefully we can capitalize on a trade if his development continues to, go up. So that's like the ultimate plan for the Eagles here. In my opinion, is just develop him, have him in the backup role, get rid of him for some assets in return.
Keep Ian Book off the field.
Yep, Ian Book's the next person we're talking about here. Ian Book looked more like Carson Wentz than I've seen in a long time. He did so. He passed for 11 yards, which is 1 for 4, 11 yards, terrible. However, he took 2 sacks for 21 yards, so that's negative 11 yards if my math correct total. So from what I saw, he's very athletic. Don't get me wrong, he's very athletic, and I can see why he got drafted, I believe, in the 4th round by the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. But ultimately, he didn't throw the ball away. He wanted to try to make something happen. This isn't college where you might be the most athletic person on the field as a quarterback. This is the NFL. There's so many more athletic people out there than you are. So if you got somebody breathing down your neck, you gotta get rid of it or something. You can't, run backwards and run east and west. You gotta make something happen. But ultimately that's his issue. I can definitively say he lost his chance at the 3rd spot on the team last night. I hope we don't ever see him play again, but I'm sure we're going to in the next 2 games. But I can say whenever we do our 53-man roster predictions, the last one, or the final one, he's not going to make the team. Josh, did you see anything positive out of Ian Book last night, or is it just awful?
I mean, like you said, he's athletic. That's about where his positives end for me.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, if he shows something in the joint practices that the coaches like, I don't know. I mean, he's not going to pass up Tanner McKee or Marcus Mariota. I'm not going to take 4 quarterbacks into the season. So at this point, he's just making a audition to maybe hopefully make another team's roster.
Yeah, I think he might. I think he might keep him in the practice squad, but I think that's about it. Bryce, give me something. Give me something good.
You ain't gonna get nothing good out of me, buddy. Right. I promise you. That guy stinks, man. I don't know, man. Like, I'm just gonna reiterate. He's athletic. That is it. That's all he's got going for him right now. He just looked honestly, he looked scared last night. He looked terrified to throw the football. Like he doesn't trust himself or doesn't trust the guys around him to make a play. But I don't know. I just don't want to see him on the field anymore.
Yeah, I don't. I think every Eagles fan, you know, agrees.
I thought they should have put Tanner back in and just try to go for the win. I mean, golly, man.
Yeah, I think
Keep him in.
everybody probably agrees with you with that statement there. So overall quarterbacks, Tanner McKee was awesome. Everybody else kind of stunk. Um, you know, back in the day, the first preseason game, you get the starters for like a series, and something to look forward to. Nowadays, you just don't get that unless you're running back. And guess what? We got to see DeAndre Swift. We got to see Rashad Penny play. Which was, bless you, by the way. Bless you. DeAndre Swift looked good. He looked good. He only carried the ball 2 times, but 2 times for 24 yards. And Bryce, what do you think? I know you're excited about him.
I'm excited, man. I think he's going to be a stud. If he can stay healthy, I think he's your number one. I don't get the whole situation of them not dressing Kenny Gainwell last night. That was confusing to me. I didn't get it. I think every running back needed some reps last night. But I think DeAndre Swift is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be your number one this year, running and receiving out of the backfield. That one run that he had, that's something we did not see from Miles Sanders. I'll go ahead and say that right now. You don't see that kind of run from Miles. Miles is going east to west. DeAndre stuck his foot in the ground, made one guy miss, got straight up field, ran somebody over. You ain't gonna see Miles run nobody over. I'm very excited to see DeAndre Swift behind our number one offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up a point there. I know Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell didn't dress, and I think part of that's just because they were on the team last year, and I get it. But this whole thing that I've seen lately, or at least in the past 12 hours or so, that Kenneth Gainwell is our number one running back. Stop. It's not him. He was awesome in the playoffs last year, but other than that, I can't tell you a time where I was like, this guy is our number one, even with Miles Sanders on the team.
I don't think he has the make and model to be a number one. You know what I mean? Like I don't see it in him.
Yeah,
personally, I just don't see it.
He's like a good like change of pace guy. Like he's kind of like a do it all type player, but I don't see him as, I know it's a running back by committee, but I don't see him as like that lead guy. It just doesn't seem like it'll be him, and so I don't understand why people are talking like that, but it is what it is. But like I said, I passed it off to you early because I know you were excited about DeAndre Swift, and we talked about that play before we got on here. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be an Eagles fan just because we have somebody that seems like that can be electric.
What's your outlook on him, Chase? What do you think he projects this season?
So here's the thing. I'm glad we got him. I think he's going to be great. Obviously, if he can stay healthy, that's the biggest if. That's the biggest if on Rashad Penny as well, is if they can stay healthy. And what's awesome is I feel like in the past 4-ish years, we haven't had a screen game. I have. It's been a long time since I've seen the quarterback drop it off like with a screen game. Other than like the tight end screens that we run sometimes, like
and the wide receiver screens.
Yeah. So like a little halfback, little slip screen. I'm here for it, especially if it creates a lot of like a chunk of yards, and that's why I think DeAndre Swift will excel at as well is in the passing game. So you add that element to the offense, an already explosive offense. I mean, like we can do it all because Jalen's going to push the ball downfield. He's going to tear you up on the intermediate routes, and in the short game, I think the short game is our weakest part. And if we add a screen and like the threat of a legitimate check down option, it's going to be tough to stop the Eagles offense. So Josh, I know we spent a minute talking about DeAndre Swift. What are your opinions on him?
Yeah, I mean that first touch was fantastic. I haven't seen a Eagles running back be able to do that since probably the year we won the Super Bowl. I mean, Jay Ajayi or LeGarrette Blount probably maybe not as Blount might not be as shifty, but it was nice to see an Eagles running back actually run somebody over. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, I think even though we're going with running back by committee, Swift will end up being the leading rusher, the leading pass catcher out of the backfield. And yeah, I mean, I know him and Penny both have the injury issues. I think Penny more so. I mean, Swift, he's missing like 3 or 4 games a year usually. But when we have a stable running backs like this, I think that'll help us manage their workloads and maximize the most out of everybody. But like you guys were saying, Gainwell, while he's a great change of pace back, he's definitely not. He's never going to be that like 1A or 1B or like that leading rusher for us. I don't think.
Yeah, I think he'll always be like the two, and that's fine. You can make a great career out of that. I mean, Darren Sproles did it, so I mean, it's nothing wrong with it.
Josh, you brought up a good point there. I listened to a lot of the interviews, like the player interviews with the media, and Rashad Penny hit on it a lot. He continues to bring it up. He said he's never been in an organization that focuses more on player health than the Eagles, and they always taking care of players' bodies, like that's their number one priority. So I think that them two, Swift and Penny, coming into this organization, I don't. There's a really good chance that they will play all 16 games this year, and being in a committee is going to even help that even more because they're not having to see the field as much. They can get a breath, get a breather, um, check out for a couple plays, get right back in there, and just continue to rotate themselves. They're not taking near as much punishment and in this backfield.
Yeah, and the thing about the running back position that not a lot of people think about is most plays, like 90% of the plays, you're taking a hit. You're running, you're blocking, or if it is a passing play, if you catch the ball, you're getting hit as well. So you're taking a lot of hits, and if you split that up and you play like a third of the team snaps, the injury risk definitely drops significantly. So we're going to combine Rashad Penny and Trey Sermon, I guess Kennedy Brooks, in this little next segment. Rashad Penny, there was a lot of chatter that he doesn't look explosive, and that people don't like what they see out of him from that game. I think he looked all right. Not every play, not every game, you're going to have a home run, carry, and he might look like he's a little slower, but we also don't have this great offensive line like he's running behind. So he was 9 for 34. So that's let me do my math here. That is, I'm actually
3.8.
Yeah, 3.8 per carry, which is okay. It's not like great, but it's okay, especially given the line he's
circumstances that you're running in.
Yeah, so that's fine. So I don't get why people were like so down on him, but we tend to overreact as a fan base, and that's part of what makes us fun and sometimes frustrating. Trey Sermon, a lot of people were like, "Oh, Trey looks good." In my opinion, Trey didn't take advantage of Rashad Penny looking like he was a little like slow, I guess. Trey had 9 carries for 21 yards. I could do the math on that one. That's less than 3. So that's not good. He had a touchdown. That's awesome. It was a 2-yard touchdown. But he didn't look like he was explosive. He didn't look like he was going to break up tackles or anything like that. He just looked like a 4th, 5th string running back. And that's what he is. Yeah. I think that might be all he is at this point. Kenny Brooks, you fumbled the ball, dude. Like you got yanked in the preseason game where you're supposed to be showcasing your skills. You got yanked. That is a sign that you're not gonna make this team, buddy. And I wish you the best of luck. That's bad. That's bad. You can't have that. You can't have that. Josh, talk to me about the next, I guess, 3 running backs that we have. What do you think? What do you think happened with Rashad Penny? Are you worried about him? And then Trey Sermon, because that's the people's champ right now.
So Rashad Penny, I mean, I'm not really worried. I think, like you said, they're playing behind that backup offensive line, which does them no favors. When they're playing behind our starters, I think they'll have a lot more, there'll be better holes. There'll be just more opportunities for them. Excuse me. And I think Rashad Penny will definitely take advantage of that. I mean, as is, frankly, after behind Swift and Gainwell, we really don't need the rest of our running backs to be dynamic. They just kind of have to find the hole, hit it, and take their 4 or 5 yards. I mean, our offensive line is going to create enough opportunities that they don't have to do anything special. They just have to not fumble it and just be able to give the other guys a breather. I think Penny and Sermon can both do that. They're serviceable. They're not world beaters. They're not probably ever going to be Pro Bowl players. And Penny might have it in him, but with a running back by committee and with his injury issues, probably not. But I mean, so I'm not worried about them, but they're nothing special, but they're not the worst.
Bryce?
Not so quick. Not so quick to write off Penny. We've said it before. I'll say it again. This backup offensive line doesn't do you any favors, and it just don't. Really interested to see what these joint practices do. You know what I mean? Like I need to see these guys behind this number one's offensive line and go against a different color of jerseys. Because when you play against your same 11 every day, every week in practice, you don't see the looks that you want to see. You need to go against different competition, different schemes, different players, see how they react to your backfield, to your offensive line. So no, I'm not ready to write off Rashad Penny or Trey Sermon just yet. But like you said, I'd like to see a little bit more out of Trey.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you got to remember is Rashad Penny's coming off a tibia fracture. He's getting his feet wet again. And like having a lower leg injury, you're going to be kind of nervous to take those first couple of hits. I've never had that type of injury before, but I can only imagine what it does to you mentally. So yeah, sure, maybe he looked a little slower, but I think whenever the true lights come on of an NFL season, he'll shine. I'm not worried about him, and I don't think that the Eagles fans should either. So moving on, wide receivers. This was going to be the topic that I wanted to talk about the most, except for Joseph and God. I didn't get the ball quite a bit, so upset about
Bummer.
that. Absolutely, yeah, absolute just sad face. But we had some good performances. Greg Ward, 5 for 53. It's nice to see Greg Ward still out there. He's been on the team for like 8 years, it seems like. I mean, it's nice to see him out there still. He's not going to make the team, but I have a feeling he's going to be on the practice squad until he retires or he can't do it anymore. He's just awesome to watch, and he's like a nice story. He was a quarterback at Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he turned into a Super Bowl champ. He was on the practice squad, but hey, you got the ring, right? So that's all that matters.
I'll always remember him for that game-winning touchdown in Washington on Josh Norman.
Yeah. He's had some memorable plays too, and he's always fun to cheer for. He's going to make the Eagles Hall of Fame, not the actual Hall of Fame, but the Hall of Fame in our hearts. So that's all that matters. Tyree Cleveland had a pretty good game.
That's the guy I was going to talk about.
Yeah, 5 for 68. I don't know too much about him, to be honest. But I know he's making some plays in camp. Heard about him. And then to round it out, Johnny King had 1 catch for 33 yards, 6'5". Tall guy to have catching the ball. And then Hazelwood, 2 for 30. Cool. And Joseph Ngata had a great 31-yard catch that got, taken away because of a pass interference. Great catch, great ball, by the way, but ultimately didn't happen. I can't wait to talk about him next week when he goes, 5 catches, 250 yards. But Bryce, I know you want to talk about Tyree Cleveland. Tell us more about him if you know anything about him.
So he's a pretty good prospect coming out of college. I believe he was on the Browns before he came to Philly. I think it was 2 years ago he actually came over. Big body receiver. Got some good size to him. I don't think he's really much of a burner. He's more of a contested catch kind of guy.
The Broncos, by the way.
Broncos, excuse me. But I think he's going to be a pretty good player if he gets some more reps. I don't know if he'll make the team, but he made a good case for it in one game. I don't know, man. I think I'm interested to see what he does in these other 2 preseason games.
He looked like he attacked the ball well.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like he wasn't letting the ball come to him. He looked like as soon as he saw the ball, he went up and attacked it, and that's what you like to see. What about the other wide receivers? You got anybody else that stood out to you?
Johnny King, he's got some good size, man. I'm interested to see on how they develop him. Big body. He's a big body receiver. He's real skinny though. I mean, he ain't got a lot of weight to him, but he towers over a lot of people. That dude's huge. He made a pretty good catch. That was a really good throw that I thought. It was Tanner McKee, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Yeah, through that.
Was it Marcus?
Wasn't Marcus Arian? No.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was a damn good throw. I'm interested to see on what they do with him too. Joseph, hate to see that flag. Like you said, Chase, great throw.
I don't think it was.
Catch.
I don't think it was pass interference. I think they were just being. They're. I don't think they'd call it in regular season. I think because it's preseason, they're going to call it and be like, "Hey, look."
Yeah, I noticed that with a lot of the flags. I was like, some of them were kind of questionable. I was like, you wouldn't call a lot of these in a regular season football game.
Like that Josh Joe PI that they called. That wasn't PI.
That shit was weak, man.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Yeah, but
Joseph, he's gonna have to show something in these next 2.
He looks like a wide receiver though. He's built like a solid wide receiver, and so yeah. I was like, that 86. It looks like he looks like an old school wide receiver with that number on. You know, it's not pretty, but I mean, you know,
early 2000s receiver.
Yeah, it's crazy because back in the day, 86 was like a prime wide receiver number. Now it's like bottom of the barrel roster.
Yeah.
But the wide receiver group is fun to watch because I feel like we have a nice group of like young, talented players.
I feel like they all play with like a certain attitude. You know what I mean? I feel like all of them attack the ball kind of well. They play with like a chip on their shoulder. A lot of them do. I can see that and how they play, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how far we've come, as a team because we used to have Jalen Reagor who would not attack a ball, or JJ Arcega-Whiteside who couldn't catch a ball and wouldn't attack the ball. So we've come a long way. Now, Josh, I'm curious to hear about what you thought about the performance from the young guns, I guess. Who stood out to you, and did anybody disappoint you?
Yeah, I mean, they looked promising. I definitely would have liked to see Joseph Nagata get more opportunities. I think he had 1 catch for 4 yards.
Yep.
Definitely would have liked to see more out of him, especially after all the hype from training camp. I'm sure we will the rest of the preseason. Or just me.
I hyped him up pretty good, too.
Yeah. You was ready to give this guy a gold jacket based on 2 weeks.
Tanner McKee.
Hey, there's 2 games left. I'll write them out. Yeah, but like you just said, I mean, it's such it feels so good to be in this position in terms of receivers as compared to just a couple of years ago. I mean, we had Jalen Reagor, Arcega-Whiteside. I mean, because speaking about Greg Ward a minute ago, and I remember he usually didn't make the team, but I mean, there was always talk that he probably should be on the team and like as high as even like a receiver 3 or 4. And I would have been a fan of that. I mean, this year he's not even in the conversation.
That says a lot about the talent that we have with the younger people because he's a solid.
Greg gets overlooked, man.
He's as solid as they come. Yeah, he's about as solid as a wide receiver since like Jason Avant. Like he reminds me of him. Mm-hmm. But go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No. I completely agree. I mean, yeah, I mean he's a very solid receiver. So just the fact that he's not even in the conversation to make the roster this year just speaks to how far we've come in terms of just the talent in the receiver room. Yeah, I mean, the young guys look promising. Tyree Cleveland had a good game. I mean, he's been in Denver for the last 3 years. I think he has a total of like 8 catches over 3 years. So, I mean, there's room to grow. And obviously, like last night, you'd rather him have a game like that than not. But I don't think anybody last night really moved the needle in terms of like making the roster or not. So, if anything, the guy's stock might have fallen a bit, but I think he's got plenty of time to bring that back up.
Yeah, but it might be best case scenario that his stock drops because if he shines in the preseason, it makes us have like this tough decision come final cuts, and a team could claim him off the waivers, and we don't want that. So if he doesn't make the team, we can stash him on the practice squad. Awesome. Is there a wide receiver that didn't make any noise at all? I'm looking at the depth chart. Britton Covey didn't play. Johnny King did.
I was
Deion
interested.
King.
I was interested to see on Jaden Hazelwood. Uh, he was a pretty good recruit coming out of high school and into college. Uh, I was interested to see what he was going to do. You hadn't heard a lot about him in training camp. He's a big body receiver. That dude's built like a shit brick house. But he made what was it, 2 for 30, as you said?
Two for
Like,
30.
I mean, that ain't bad, but you'd like to see a little bit more. But I don't know. I was just curious on what he was going to do.
At the end of the day, preseason is either you have a accurate like quarterback or you're having Ian Book throw you passes, and so wide receivers don't really get to shine a lot in preseason. That's why training camp practices, whenever you take reps with your starting quarterback, you get to shine a little bit more just because you have a chance to make a play. But other than that, we have the tight ends to talk about. I don't have anything to really say about them. They didn't make any plays. I know that I think Grant Calcaterra dropped a pass, which is not good, especially because that's like his strength. Dan Arnold caught a ball on like 3rd and 8, got 7 yards, looked directly at the first down marker, and didn't even attempt to like stretch for it. So awareness on Madden should be at 0. Who else do we have? Brady Russell. I didn't even know
Dropped
he was
the
on
ball.
Yeah, he dropped it. So yeah, not a good showing from the backup tight ends. Luckily, we have Dallas Goedert, but
Did Jack Stoll play? I
he did.
Thought he played.
I believe he did. Yeah.
1 catch, 6 yards, but I think he probably dropped the pass too. But we didn't hear anything about him other than like actually anything. To be honest, I don't remember even seeing him play.
One of my holes coming into the season, though. Like, this is one of my just tight end depth. Like, you got a significant drop off after Dallas Goedert, and it's bad because Dallas Goedert hasn't been able to show you these past couple of years that he's been able to stay healthy and play a full season. That's not good, man. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's not a good thing. You have that far of a drop off, and somebody who's that much of a contributor to your offensive playbook, let alone he can open up your playbook 10 times more when Dallas Goedert's on the field compared to when he's not. You limit yourself when he's not able to play. So I don't know. Like you said, it is not a good showing.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's an underrated need going into the season, probably going into the next off season. I could see them drafting a tight end high or picking up a young tight end, and spending some money on one. Because having 2 tight ends that are solid, along with Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and whoever we have at running back in the future, that's deadly. But the fact of the matter is, we throw Jack Stoll out there to block, and that's just like not cool to like have him as just a blocking tight end whenever he's not really even a threat in the passing game. Not even like a little bit. He'll catch a ball on like run across the field, catch a ball, but like nothing else. You can't trust him downfield like you can with Dallas. And Grant hasn't shown that he's able to make these big time plays. So the tight end group has kind of been a letdown. Obviously, besides Dallas Goedert. But
did Tyree Jackson suit up last night?
Tyree Jackson
didn't get any catches.
Tyree Jackson did. He was targeted once and didn't catch
it.
Which is sad because he's had great camps, but he's been like fizzling away. But I can see them making a move for a tight end. I can, like, before the season starts, because like if Dallas Goedert goes down, then it's not good. It's not good at all.
I just can't. I'm trying to think of some names out there that you could try to make a move for. But I would say you're thinking of like maybe getting like an older tight end, somebody who's maybe close to out of their prime. But I don't know. I couldn't really think of anybody like maybe like a Hunter Henry kind of guy, but I don't know. If they could somehow get David Njoku, I think he would fit well. But I think he's kind of, for some reason, I feel like Njoku, he like fell out of the rotation, like fell out of like the scheming for Cleveland, and like this past year bolstered himself back into it. Like he was really good this past year from what I remember. But I don't know what it would take to get a guy like that.
Maybe we can talk Gronk out of retirement. But anything anybody else want to add about the tight ends before we move on to the offensive line?
Cameron Brate's a free agent. I don't know if he has anything left in the tank, but
I mean, he's got to be
He's
better
like
than what we
40.
have.
he's
He's got
32.
he's got to be better
I feel
than
like
what
Kevin Brate's
he
been in
had-
the
we
league
had,
since
though.
I was like a kid.
Yeah, but I think he's been injury prone too. I think, but who cares? He'd be number 2. But I guess moving on to the offensive line, not really much that I can say because the Ravens broadcast didn't put any replays or anything really. So
They suck
they did
at
suck.
broadcasting.
Yeah. It was hard to keep up with anything really because, especially on the defensive side, watching like who made that tackle. They don't like who made the play. They don't even like bring up the person's name. They're not even like tackled by this guy or.
I've never heard somebody mention David Ajabo's name more than that Ravens broadcast in my life, dude. I got so tired of hearing that.
I was not enjoying it. Luckily, the next 2 games will be the Eagles broadcast that we'll see on NFL Network, or if you want to, you can watch on NFL Plus. But the one thing that I saw is like Tyler Steen. I think it was the first drive. The Ravens sent a blitz, and he was at left tackle, I believe. He got caught in no man's land, and there was two rushers that he could have blocked. He blocked neither of them, and so it ended up with a sack. However, it looked like he bounced back and had a pretty good game. And then I think he even played right guard towards like the second quarter. I think Dennis Kelly had a rough game, a down game.
Oh, bad. It was bad. I saw some couple of pass protection snaps from him. So I can't remember who it was, but they were whooping his ass, dude. Somebody hit him with a spin move, and he didn't know where he went, and it was bad, bro.
So that's not good because he's supposed to be. You want him to be your swing tackle if something happens. But other than that, I think Josh Sills got the start, which is weird because he
came on quick.
Yeah,
I didn't expect to see that.
He just got activated like last week, right? We talked about that. So
I didn't think he was going to be in game shape. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to be like prepared for it.
I guess I want to see what they have with him, to be honest.
I remember like before the allegations came out and stuff like that, they liked him. Like they kept him around. Jeff Stoutland raved about him a couple times in some press conferences that he had for the past couple years, and they raved about him. They seem like they really like him and want to keep him around.
Well, my takeaway from this Tyler Steen is he'll be good. He'll be very good once they figure out what they want to do with him because
he's got a mean streak to him. He seemed like he's quick to fight somebody.
He's very violent. That's why I put it down my notes. Is like once he gets a hold of you and he knocks you down, he's gonna make you stay on the ground, and he wants to pancake somebody. So that's awesome to see from like a fan's perspective. But sometimes that distracts you from like the bigger picture of going up to the next level and getting that second block. But I mean, if he wants to kill somebody on the field, go for it. So I don't have anything else to add about the lineman. Josh, you got anything you want to talk about with him, or we already covered it?
I mean, you guys covered it pretty well. Nothing really to add. Just I'm always confident as long as we have Stoutland that the offensive line is going to do its job, no matter who we have to plug in. He'll coach him up, get him up to speed. So,
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing is like who are offensive line coaches. I mean, he took somebody that's never played football before in their life and made them a starting left tackle.
Pro Bowl left tackle too.
Pro Bowl left tackle, exactly. And so I have faith. No matter what happens with the line, I have faith. So like if somebody goes down, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I don't care. So
we'll always adjust.
Exactly. Moving on to defense. Defense was kind of fun to watch last night for the most part. The line, I know what we want to talk about real quick is Jalen Carter played 2 snaps.
A monster, dude. Oh my God. He's going to be so good, dude.
Yeah. It's a shame we only get to see 2 snaps of him, but those 2 snaps were cinema.
Yeah.
So that was awesome to watch, just to see him just club club buddy and move on to the quarterback was awesome. And then Nolan Smith was right there with him. Nolan Smith had an up and down game. It looked like he's getting his feet wet still. He came back. This is his first game back from an injury that he suffered in college. So he's still getting his feet wet, and he's still adjusting to not being like the strongest person on the field, Who else we got to talk about on the line? Derek Barnett. You played 6 snaps. You were invisible those 6 snaps. You should be making plays. But I will say this. No penalty from Derek Barnett. So clap it up for him. That's right. Clap
Good
it up.
job, buddy.
That was almost my bold prediction for that.
So, that's a start. That's good. But there's only 6 snaps, so who knows what would happen on that 7th snap. Let's see. Anybody else like second string wise that I'm missing? I think Jordan Davis played, but
yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, then
Ojomo played well.
Moro Ojomo
Looked damn good. Looked good.
He looked good. He looked great actually. Always in the backfield. Seemed like drew a holding call because he was just tearing Buddy up. Got tackled for loss. Great.
I was going to bring up something. We mentioned Jordan Davis. I got on Twitter and I seen there's a couple of people disappointed in Jordan Davis. Like, I'm not sure what people are looking for from him. He's a big dude who can clog up a hole and stop the run. If you're just expecting him to be like this outstanding great pass rusher coming out of college, you are completely wrong and you're lying to yourself. Like it wasn't going to happen. Like that's just not his strong suit. It's not what he is. But he's got the athleticism, and I think he's got the work ethic to maybe catapult himself and work himself into being a better pass rusher, maybe a 4-5 sack season. I think that's a great season from him, and a couple of tackles for loss and a good amount of them. And I think he's more of a situational player. Like you throw him in there on like first, second down and say it's like a 3rd and short or something, and you're stacking the box. That's when you get that guy in there. But they built this defensive line on a rotation for a purpose. Like they brought in players to fit strengths for situations, if that makes sense. Like Jalen Carter is an excellent pass rusher, good run stuffer. He's still a good run stopper, but he excels in pass rushing. Where you got Jordan Davis, who's the complete opposite. Really good run stopper, not as great in pass rushing. I don't know. I was just kind of disappointed to see on Twitter some people were kind of like upset about him and not so high on him right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Josh, were you disappointed at all?
No, I mean, I have high expectations for him, just like everybody else. I think he can eventually develop into being a solid pass rusher. But I mean, like Bryce, like you said, I mean, he's there to stuff the run. He's there to draw double teams. He's there to open up, lanes for everybody else and make everyone else's lives easier. His job is really not to get to the quarterback. It's just, to eat up blockers and be 6'7", 350.
Big guy. That's a big guy. And I think what you want, in all honesty, if he's like, I know we're never going to do like an every down like interior lineman, right? That's just not happening. Those guys are huge. They need a break. But if he wants to become like a good pass rusher, it might not be getting to the quarterback. It might just be eating double teams. Or if Jalen Carter is getting double teamed, like causing like disruption by beating one guy. So either take the double team and just live with it, just being that guy that forces them. Or if your buddy right across from you is taking 2 people, you cause the havoc. And that's what you want in him. And the running game, he's gonna be huge because he's gonna be needing double teams. Him and Jalen both. So, I can see where people are disappointed. I can see where people kind of maybe down on him, but he's still an athletic freak, and there's no denying that. And I believe
there's no chance for you to block him one-on-one. Like every time you see that guy in a one-on-one, that offensive lineman is being drove backwards. Like you can't block him one-on-one. So he's always going to face a double team, which makes Jalen Carter's life easier. Nolan Smith, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat makes all their lives easier because they're going to be in one-on-one
Brandon
situations.
Graham.
Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, all of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just makes everybody's life easier. I mean, if you got Jalen Carter on a one-on-one, you're in for a world of hurt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're in trouble. It's just I I have high expectations for him, but I think my expectations are suited for him. I feel like some people's expectation for him is not really suited to his play style, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like this is the last thing. This is the last thing I'll say about this. Um, I know we didn't talk about a lot about Ojomo, and that's cool. It is what it is. He is he seems like he's going to be crazy when it comes to stopping the run, and honestly, probably pass rushing. But two people we want to talk about are Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and then I guess Nolan Smith. But Nolan Smith, like I said, we talked about him. He had an up and down game, but those two in particular, I think the expectations are a little too high because I think I heard something. A rookie like lineman averaged like two and a half sacks per year, and so if you're thinking Jalen Carter's going to come in and just be Aaron Donald right away, it's just not going to happen. He might be better than the 2.5 sacks, and that'd be a great over under for our over under show. But you gotta let them grow. They're still young. They're still learning the game of football. So like they're not going to be these all pro players right away. But ultimately you don't want to see them give up on plays. And I feel like Jordan Davis, I think he had question marks with like kind of like
His motor.
giving up, and like being lazy. But ultimately we have our future's bright on the defensive line, especially if Noah Smith can figure out how to have some finesse in his game, and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis both just continue to grow and learn as players. So that's the last thing I'll say about that. Anybody else want to add before we move on to the linebacking core?
I think it's just exciting to see that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, they study the game as much as they do. Um, Jalen Carter didn't come off to me as a guy who watched a lot of film. He just he just doesn't seem like that kind of player that's going to be keep his nose in the film room and keep his head down and grind and watch film and practice hard and stuff like that. But seems that he's a bit of a film junkie because he kind of broke down in an interview last night of how that play went on that quarterback hit, and he kind of said he knew it was going to be a pass play just based off how Ben Cleveland was setting his stance and seeing how the formation was. I was like, man, that's really encouraging to see for a rookie that drafted that high and had that much praise of just being an all around good football player is wanting and willing to learn.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference from college to the NFL is like college. You're having fun too, right? You're having the time of your life. So you're 18 going into college. You're thinking about the NFL, but like you're also in the same time living in the moment. So when you go in the NFL, you have older guys.
Half the time, you're the best player on the field in college.
Right, and that's just because you're stronger, faster than everybody else, and bigger than everybody else. So now you go to the NFL, you're no longer stronger, faster than everybody else. You might be on par with them. So there's like technique that's involved that you have to study. You have to see what their tendencies are. They giving away like is a run play, is a pass play because of the way the lineman's set. So there's a lot of things that you can learn from like the vets, like having Fletcher Cox and like Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick as guys to like learn from. That's like you can't put a price tag on that. That's awesome for their career, and that's going to help them more than anybody like realizes right now. So it may not pay off at this very moment, but in the future you'll see it. You'll see it pay off, and I feel like
talk to me when it's like year 4 in
right.
Jalen Carter's career, and
right.
let's see how that is.
Yeah, and sure, like coming in to the NFL, they have like they don't have like a high drive, right? That it's kind of like they're going with emotions, but like now they have these people that are getting onto them and everything. Like it's going to happen. And if you want to stay in the NFL, you can't just be this athletic freak. You got to watch film.
It's all up to them. It's all up to them. You can go as far as you can. You can go as far as you want in your career. if you put the work in and do it. Like this ain't college where you're just like you said, bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody else, and just like you're playing a Pop Warner football team at your size. Like that's not going to happen in the NFL. Everybody, you're playing against guys who's done this for 10 plus years and seen everything, seen guys just like you. You got to show them, you got to show yourself and your teammates around you what makes you stand out and different from everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, especially for somebody who coming out of college had those like the reputation for, like you said, kind of being like a lazy player. I mean, Jalen Carter's not fighting for a roster spot. Like he's gonna play. He played 2 snaps last night. He could have just mailed it in. He didn't have to do all the extra studying on tape and show out. But just the fact that he did, like you guys said, it's super promising. And I love to see that from him.
It was a great 2 snaps. It was a great.
It was.
And the best part is not one mention of it from the Ravens broadcast. I was like, who? Like, what happened there? I couldn't tell who that was. I was like, somebody killed somebody.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about the pass rushing clinic that this guy just put on your homeboy out here.
Yeah, nobody mentioned a word, but it's awesome. I was never like a big like offensive line, defensive line guy growing up because it's not super exciting. But as I've grown up, it's fun.
I love to watch it, dude. Yeah. I love to watch the trenches, man, because you see some crazy shit down there in them trenches, man. Guys that big be able to move like fucking cats. That is insane to me.
Yeah, it is. It is, and that's awesome. But it's not insane. The linebacking group. Josh, I'll let you lead this one off. Did you see anything promising from the linebacking group? And if so, who was promising? Because I missed it.
I mean, it seemed like they knew where to line up on the field. They always had 11 guys out there.
Yeah.
They knew, stay on this side of the ball before the snap. Other than that, I don't know. There's kind of left a lot to be desired. Seems like a lot of our worries about the linebacking core were validated last night. Yeah, really not a lot of positive to talk about.
Yeah,
I will say the new guys didn't look bad. I mean, they didn't look terrible. They didn't make no splash. They didn't make no splash plays. You know what I mean? But they definitely didn't look horrible. I think if the season started right now, one of them two is your opposite starting linebacker of Nakobe Dean. I think Nicholas Morrow had an alright game last night.
That's what I was going to bring up whenever I came back to me. I was going to say Nicholas Morrow blew up a screenplay with a nice tackle.
Seems like he's got some pop too, man. Like he seems like he can hit.
Maybe I'm wrong about him. Maybe I was wrong the whole time. I don't think it was good that Zach Cunningham was playing in the fourth quarter. I mean, I know they're trying to give him some run or whatnot, but whatever. Miles Jack had three tackles. I mean, that's good. But other than that, I didn't see anything crazy. I know Bryce's boy from it was Louisville, right? Was it Louisville? Ben Vance. What's his name?
Oh, Michigan State.
Michigan State. Yeah, he has 6 tackles. So second on the team in tackles. So yeah, that's about all I got for the linebackers. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I guess. I don't know.
I do think they still add somebody. And I wanted to see Nakobe Dean play. I don't know if they're holding him out because he's still hurt, but we need to see something from Nakobe before week 1. Otherwise, I'm worried. Moving on, I guess to we'll go cornerbacks first. Cornerbacks. We have a lot. We have a crowded room of cornerbacks. There are some like very high potential type players that we have. We're going to have to cut some of them, and that's going to break my heart because I think the whole world fell in love with Eli Ricks last night. Because after his pick 6, he started jawing somebody. Immediately after the pick 6, he broke up a pass, started jawing buddy that he stopped. So, I know Bryce knows more about Eli Ricks than I do. Do you have anything that Eagles fans might not know about him that might be intriguing?
So, he came from he went to Bama, originally transferred from LSU. He was a highly touted prospect coming out of high school. He excels. Like he is a man coverage guru. Like I think he led the league or led the like college last year in like pass breakups and like he and his main coverage skills. Like he graded out as like a 91% in man coverage. He is he's a fiery player. Like you seen that last night. If he makes a play, he's gonna let you know about it. He's gonna tell you he made a play. Uh, he I don't he's got good size. I think it's like the bad things about him or like his negatives. He's not much of a zone corner. He wants to play in man coverage. He wants to be on the island by himself. Uh, good thing like there's more good about him than there is bad. Um, he doesn't get a lot of balls thrown his way, but when he does, he's usually right there. Like he doesn't get beat. Um, he's willing to tackle an open field. Um, I don't know. There's not really much bad to say about Eli Ricks.
Yeah. I mean, think about the players we had play last night. We had Greedy Williams, he was bad. Mario Goodrich, who was making a case to be on the team. Mekhi Garner. We had I'm trying to go through the list. Zach McPherson, and then Keely Ringo. Am I missing somebody? Josh Jobe.
Yeah.
Yep, that's about it.
I think that's it.
That's tough. Besides Josiah Scott and Greedy, the rest of them they could all easily make the team. And if we do cut them, I feel like they're not making it through waivers.
No.
Especially Eli Ricks won't make it now because he had a pick six. Some teams want to take a chance on him. So with that being said, after naming all those cornerbacks, Josh, did anybody else stand out to you besides Eli Ricks?
I mean, Kelly Ringo's definitely showed the kind of athlete he is last night. I would say out of anybody, probably Ringo. I mean, I'm just very happy that we have so much talent at the cornerback spot. Similar to receiver, this is something just a couple years ago. We were definitely struggling at. I remember, starting Crayvon LeBlanc in a playoff game.
He played good that game though.
He did. I'll give him credit, but I don't think anybody was thrilled, going into to be in that situation. So to be at this point where it's like, which of these quality cornerbacks do we have to cut? Like it's just or put on the practice squad and hope they make through waivers. It's nice. But yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I'd say aside from Eli Ricks, Kelly Ringo stood out to me. Jack McPherson did return a punt. I didn't.
I didn't have that on my bingo card. I will tell you that right now. That was weird. But I think it's because Greg Ward got hurt.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but still, as Zach McPherson, I don't even think he returned punts in college.
Yeah, so
Kai Garner kind of stood out to me. He was making some play on special teams.
He got the forced fumble, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I will say this to kind of piggyback off of what Josh said. Thinking back about the last couple of years, I guess before Darius Slay and James Bradbury, or just before Darius Slay, we had at one point we had Kerry Williams and Bradley Fletcher. Bradley Fletcher got cooked every single week. Kerry Williams also got cooked every single week. Then we had Jalen Mills, who got cooked a lot. Ron Darby, who was okay at best, but he got.
There's
cooked.
No reason for that guy to be your number one corner on that roster.
Not a chance. So like we've come pretty far, with both cornerback and wide receiver. I forgot. I was going to mention Keely Ringo the whole time, but sometimes when I get to start talking about like things, I just forget things and it slips out of my mind. So Keely Ringo was very up and down. However, I will say the down was in the beginning and he bounced back, which is what you want to see. He gave up a touchdown. He got stiff armed and spun around by whoever that running back was. I can't remember who it was. But he bounced back, got a good pass breakup. He didn't give up on a play. What do you say?
I think it was Justice Hill, wasn't it? The running back. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah.
It was in the first quarter. But he didn't give up on a play where it looked like it was going to be a surefire touchdown, and he showed off his speed because he went from barely running to full speed in like 2 steps. That was crazy. So watching him bounce back and getting that pass breakup, and it's good. It's good. You want to see a young corner do that and have like short-term memory, because he could easily just thought about it the whole time and been down on himself, but he didn't. So, thumbs up for Keely. I'm excited to see you play a little bit more. He's going to make the team regardless of what happens, just because they spent a 4th round pick on him. And just
I
because
think he kind of put that he's got his like knock on him coming out of college was he had stiff hips, like he can't break on balls very well. But that pass breakup, man, like he stopped on a dime and flipped his hips and made a play. I thought that was good to see from him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to run by him. I don't think they run by him.
No.
And if they do, he will be there. He will catch up. Unless it's like Tyreek Hill. But, good showing from the cornerbacks. So I'm excited to watch the next preseason game on Thursday to see who makes a play this time. And then that 53-man roster prediction that we're going to do is going to be fun when we get to cornerbacks, because I think one person will make it. Bryce is going to think somebody else. Maybe Josh thinks somebody else too. It'll be fun, and it's not going to be fun for the Eagles. Moving on to safeties, I just want to talk about one person real quick before we get too deep into this. Justin Evans wanted to kill people, and it was very fun to watch. And he made 2 tackles, maybe it was like 3. It says on ESPN that he had 2 tackles, but I think he came in and hit 3 people for sure. He might have came in late, but he was trying to knock somebody's head off.
Trying to hurt somebody.
It was like old school football, man. It was like somebody had a bounty on him and he was going after him. But he's not making the team, I don't think. But I can't wait to watch him next week just to see what he does. Sidney Brown, obviously, he had 9 tackles. He led the team. He was always around the ball. I don't think he missed a tackle from what I remember. I feel like he was very like surefire. Like if he got around you, you're going down. Who else? We got Terrell Edmonds had a sack, I believe. So that's cool. Which like we talked about last week. I think
he was out there hitting last night too, man.
He was.
I was surprised.
I think they might put him at linebacker.
Really?
I think they might do it. They might make him play like linebacker majority of the time. They might have to though.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I'd be all for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and just start Kayvon Wallace, right? Yeah. But I think I think Kayvon had an okay game as well.
Kayvon didn't do bad last night.
Did he?
He didn't.
Do I have a Kayvon? He had a forced fumble too. I forgot about that. We didn't get the ball back, but he got a forced fumble on a decent hit. I put that in my notes. I don't really have anything else about the safeties. Bryce, you got anything you want to chip in?
No, not too much. Sydney, hold on, excuse me. Sydney led the team in tackles with 9. But man, he plays like I said before, like he plays his hair's on fire, dude. He flies around everywhere. But that aggressiveness,
There you go.
like we talked about earlier, Chase, like it could put him in like a bad position sometimes. Like he might be in the wrong spot just because he's so aggressive. But that aggressiveness, sometimes you can miss tackles because of that. But he looked all right last night.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, you got anything you want to add about the safeties?
Yeah, just to continue on Sidney Brown. I mean, he definitely plays super aggressive. Like you said, he plays like his hair's on fire. I mean, I love that. I feel like that's something you can't really teach. And I think that if you can harness all that energy and all that enthusiasm to play, it can be really dangerous, especially as he gets more reps. He gets, more used to the speed of the game at the NFL level, and just, ups his football IQ.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be really awesome.
He definitely looks like he belongs out there, and that's important.
Absolutely.
That's important for a young safety. He didn't seem like he was out of position too often, so I don't think he's going to be that that center field safety that I had mentioned in the first episode because I was just super ignorant. But he'll be there with the ball. Wherever the ball is, he'll go see ball, get ball. That's what he's going to do, and that's awesome to have. That's the last thing is kickers, punters, and special teams, or all, as a whole. Jake Elliott missed not extra point, field goal. I do think that Ty Zetner was holding the kick, so that might have had something to do with it. Punters, I don't even care. Just give me somebody. Get punt god in here.
Somebody more competent.
Yeah.
Neither one of these guys look great.
Because I can't deal with a shank in an important game again. I can't do it. I can't deal with it again, man. Aaron Sifos is bad. Ty Zetner hadn't shown anything to make me think he's not bad. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. That's whatever. Just to let Jake Elliott punt the ball at this point.
Whatever happened to Marquette King? Let's bring him out of retirement.
Yeah, he played for the what did he play? He played for the USFL last year, I think, right?
I think so.
He can kick the ball.
Got a leg. Yeah,
he can do something. But yeah,
he currently plays for the Arlington Renegades of the XFL.
XFL.
So
yeah, get him.
Marquette.
Get him back.
Go ahead and call him.
He's been nice. Or just bring Pat McAfee in for one last run.
Yeah.
But
need a lot of money to do that. You'd have to fork way too much money over to a punter. Ain't no way he's quitting TV right now.
Yeah,
he's making like Jalen Hurts money on those podcasts.
Yeah.
Just tell him to show up on game day. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. I guess we'll wrap up the special team segment with this because really, Boston Scott wasn't returning kicks and Britton Covey wasn't returning punts, so there's nothing really to talk about there. So, in one word, Bryce, are you worried about Jake Elliott's miss?
No.
Josh?
No.
All right, cool. So, with all those positions wrapped up, we'll talk about winners and losers. I feel like most of us have the same ones, so I'll just list off my winners, and if I miss somebody or you want to add somebody to the winners group, just we'll discuss that at the end of the winners. So, my first winner, I feel like is a super obvious winner, is Tanner McKee. He looked very comfortable out there whenever he got in. He drove the ball down the field, which Marcus didn't, and that's something that you like coming from a rookie quarterback, is he's not scared to make a mistake. And so pushing the ball down the field, thumbs up in my book. Sidney Brown, we talked about him 10 seconds ago, led the team in tackles, super aggressive, fun to watch. He's going to be prone to some mistakes based on his aggressiveness, but that's okay. He'll learn. Eli Ricks, get a pick six, you're going to make the winners. You're just going to. His stock is definitely up. And then right after the pick six, he had a great pass breakup where he also broke on the ball and probably could have got another pick six if he wanted to. And then my last winner was Moro Ojomo, just because I feel like he's a steal. He was a steal in the draft.
Yeah. I listened to a lot of draft analysts talk about there was no way that he should have been there in the 7th round. Like they had like 4th, 5th round grades on him.
Yeah. And I think he'll play a lot this year too. I think he will play a lot.
I was high on him this year. There were some people who didn't know if he would make the roster and be on a practice squad. I thought he was going to make the roster and actually contribute beyond that like second wave of defensive linemen that come in.
I mean, your boy, Big Milt, right?
Yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Any winners, Bryce, that you would like to add that you can think of?
I would throw Jalen Carter in there, just based off 2 snaps. He was he was a winner.
Yeah.
Let me think here. I could probably throw Keely Ringo in there just for. He's a loser. He gave up a touchdown, but he was a winner on how he reacted after it.
Right. That's important. I will say Keely looked like that ball. He didn't think that ball was going to come anywhere near him, and he was definitely thrown by surprise when that ball came his way.
Yeah.
So, Josh, anybody you like to add to the winner's circle?
Yeah, I mean, I would add Tyree Cleveland. I think he's probably not going to make the roster, but if he adds any hopes of making the roster, he had to have a game like that last night. So
Yeah,
helps himself.
definitely. And then I think I would like to add Tyler Steen, just because he had a solid game. Losers. I can tell you there are 2 quarterbacks in the losers. One being Marcus Mariota, who can't complete a 10-yard pass, and then Ian Book, who also can't complete a 10-yard pass and doesn't throw the ball away. Stock down for both of them. I think, like I mentioned earlier, it may be overreaction, but I feel like Marcus Mariota's bad play is slowly but surely allowing Tanner McKee to challenge the backup quarterback spot. Derek Barnett, like I said earlier, he's playing against backups, so you would think he would show something, but he was invisible for those 6 snaps, especially for a guy who was the first-round pick in 2017. And I know he's coming off an injury, but still, like, you should be better than what you're playing up against, right? So, not a good showing. Trey Sermon, loser. People are going to hate me because of this, but you said most people were saying Rashad Penny had a subpar start to his Eagles career. Well, Trey Sermon didn't do anything to capitalize on that slow start, especially only averaging less than 3 yards a carry, and then just not breaking tackles or making like a splash play. And then, last but not least, the linebacking group. Nobody showed anything besides, I think, Nicholas Morrow that one time that we talked about where he blew up the screen. So nobody was like, oh my God, look, potential. It was the same old that we've been talking about. Josh, anybody you want to add to the losers?
Not really adding to the losers, but just about the linebacking core. I completely agree about that. And Morrow did have that one nice breakup on the screen, but other than that, not a lot of potential there. It's, sorry to see.
That's all right. We're I think Kyle will figure it out. Bryce, loser.
I would actually, I may be wrong for adding him in there as a loser right now, but Nakobe Dean, it's not a good look that he's not playing right now when he actually got some seemed like he was fully back at practice a couple days ago, and they held him out. You would like to see him get in there and get some game reps before the start of the season, which I'm sure he will, but I think everybody was excited to see what he looked like in his first game.
Yep. We'll add one more loser just for fun. I like raining on his parade. Josiah Scott had a chance to make a play, and he just could not come up with the ball. The ball was thrown over his head. He jumped up for it, just couldn't get it. And with a game full of cornerbacks shining, for a returning player, you don't help your chances out making the team. So if Josiah Scott's on this team, I'm happy. Well, with that being said, we wrapped up the first preseason game. I think we're at like an hour and 10 minutes or so. Normally, I don't think reviews will be this long come regular season time. But since there's so many different players we can talk about in the preseason, it's nice to go a little bit more in depth, just to kind of talk about the people that might not even make the team. So coming up, I believe our next episode it'll be a review episode because we play on Thursday. So we'll record that on Friday. Hopefully that should be out Saturday morning, and then next Sunday we're going to record. We're going to do our prediction episode of win-loss record for the Eagles. That'll be fun. Hopefully not everybody here picks 17-0. Hopefully we're somewhat realistic. That's about it for the next upcoming week, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you to everybody who has listened so far. Our streaming numbers are phenomenal for a pod that just started 3 weeks ago. So, thank you to everybody who's listened so far. So if you listen to us, leave us a rating. That way, other people can see us and see that we're good. Because I think we're good. We might not be, but I think we are. YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, share with a friend if you want. And then most importantly, just enjoy the preseason, because I feel like there are too many people that are concerned with a preseason loss. I've seen it all morning. They're like, I can't believe we lost. I'm like, dude, who cares? I didn't go to bed sad last night because we lost like I would like a regular season game. It's preseason. So that being said, follow us on all socials at the Linc Lineup. Tweet at us. Tell us what you think about the game. And we'll see you next time. And with that being said, go Birds.
Go Birds.